Welcome back to another episode of Spit or Swallow Pod with your favorite host, Hausa Chocolate. Thank you for the likes, for the comments, for sharing, subscribing. Today is a special day as per usual, and I have with me a very, very special guest,
Mhm.
Amiola.
Hello. Why
Hi,
am I
Amiola.
special? What makes me special?
Anybody that sits on my chair is special to me.
Okay.
But tell us, Amiola, what makes you special?
I don't know. Everything about me makes me special. I
Mm,
think my
mm.
existence makes me special.
Fair enough.
Mm,
That makes sense.
yeah.
So, before we get into it, spit or swallow?
I think it depends on the who.
Mm,
So maybe a little bit of both sometimes.
spit, sometimes swallow.
But depends on the who for the swallow, I
Depends on
think.
the who,
Yeah.
not the taste or the mood.
Well, the taste. I think the who would also, the taste
Mm,
is part of the who.
But the taste is part of the food. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. So today we're going to be talking about sex and love. But before we get into that, how's your sex life?
These days is almost non-existent, to be honest.
Wow.
But I don't mind it. I feel like it means that I'm choosing what I'm being very particular about what I want,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And
And
if
not
it's
just
not that,
moving with
then
vibes.
yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Great. So yeah, we're talking about sex and love, how they are connected. Kind of like differences between sex when you're not in love,
Mm-hmm.
sex when you're in love. Benefits, downsides. I think just anything and everything. So, what would you say is your experience? And what would you? First of all, let me start with love. What
Okay.
is love to you?
What is love? Love is a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
It's an emotion.
Yeah.
Um, that's very intense.
Uh huh.
I think, like some people say, it's a mental illness.
It is a mental illness. Oh Lord, it is a mental illness.
It's very, I don't know. I think you take leave of your senses and just like
You
start
do
to
take
move
leave of your
crazy.
senses.
But they say it's a nice feeling as well. I
They,
wouldn't know.
what do you mean you wouldn't
I don't
know?
think I've ever been in love in my life, my
Really?
entire life. I've had like I've really liked certain people. But I don't think I could say I've been in love. Maybe the only one person I could say that about was like my first ever
Relationship?
what we even call a relationship was a boy that we used to hang out because we lived in the same estate. He schooled abroad, and then or he would come home on the holidays and would hang out, and fool around
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. But I think it was a thing where he was just this person that I really admired, like his brain as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I just liked being around him. And then we tried to date for a bit and it didn't work out
Mm.
because he was just this person I just like admired. And I think I wasn't myself in that space. I was just like, oh my God, this guy.
But
I won't call that being in love though.
yeah, but like when you say admire, do you think it was like a sapiosexual connection? Was it like a
Yes. More like,
yeah?
yes.
But then were you physically like attracted to him and
Yeah,
all of that too?
yes. Yes, I was. But I think that when it became a relationship, like when
Mm-hmm.
it became I think I have a problem with labels as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when it became a relationship, it
But
felt odd. The dynamics felt very
why did
weird.
the dynamics feel odd? What would you say changed? Would
Expectations, I think.
Yeah, because I was going to say if the relationship changed certain things, but obviously you had a physical attraction, you had a
Mm-hmm.
mental attraction, you would like being around this person, you were in like, oh wow.
Yeah.
But then it was the relationship that changed the dynamic. I wouldn't necessarily say that that wasn't love. I would just say it would be more, how like relationships open up a certain level of vulnerability that regular
Yeah.
casual setting when the stakes aren't so high,
Mm-hmm.
then there are certain parts of you that will show up. And
Mm-hmm.
then obviously when you're in a relationship, like you said, expectations started to change. So it's like who needs to show up more? Are you being more vulnerable? So
Yeah.
maybe it was, the dynamics that fucked that shit up, but it
Mm-hmm.
might not necessarily have been like, oh, you know, your feelings weren't real. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I said it's the closest thing that I would say to have
to
been
in
in
love.
love. Like, I mean, when I think back about I don't know if I was in love. I don't know if that's the feeling I would ascribe to
To
being in
being
love
in love
right today.
today. I
Yeah.
mean, that makes sense because for me, I always feel like a lot of times the few times I can say, oh, I loved certain people, when it ends, I'm just like, Not actually love.
What was that?
What was that?
What
That
was
was
that?
just a little stint of,
Yeah.
because sometimes I think that, I mean, there's infatuation, there's loss. I think that sometimes we're also in attachments. You
Mm-hmm.
can actually get used to like somebody being in your routine and
Yeah.
in your life, and you can develop some form of feelings. But I think that in some ways, I think it's also love, because there's some relationships where your feelings for them might not have been the strongest.
Mm-hmm.
Then shit ends and the devastation is so much. But I think that a lot of times it depends on what is going on in your life at the time.
Yeah.
Why the
But
oh
couldn't it be that you just got really comfortable with the person and then like
yeah, so that's where I was going to head to, where it's like um sometimes a breakup can, shatter you, not because that was the love of your life and you lost something so deep, but
yeah.
just the feelings that come with breakup, how you guys broke up, for instance, if
Mm-hmm.
somebody lied or somebody, those ones can bring up feelings of
Hurt. Yeah.
inadequacy, you're hurt, it can also be one of those things where you're just really attached, and so your body is getting used to like detaching from that
Detachment, yeah.
person. It might even just be your
Withdrawal
ego,
symptoms.
exactly.
Yeah.
Withdrawal symptoms, it might even just be your ego as well. So, and then there's some people, so for me, I always say like the best relationship I ever had, like my greatest, like flawless, like the first time I ever in the history of me ever said, "Oh yeah, I'll probably marry." Like I could marry this person, and we
Mm-hmm.
even spoke about it. When she ended, I'm sure I cried for like 2 days, and after that, that was it. And
Only
trust me,
two
that was
days.
such a good. And so sometimes I'm like, did I? But I did love that person. Like
Yeah.
it was nice. It was peaceful. It was safe. It was,
Yeah, but it could also be that you just didn't want to dwell in that.
I mean, I never want to dwell,
Yeah,
but there are some people that I don't want to dwell, but I'm still
by
dwelling
force.
till tomorrow.
Whether you like it or not.
Do you guys, like, if I think about them, I'm just like, punish you, bastard. So you just never really know what, like, these like intense, like, and that's why I agree when you say like love is like mental illness,
Mm-hmm.
because they're just some. I always ask the same way. I always say, like, even with my spec now, for instance, I have like
Yeah.
a tear. It's the same way with like connection, and even with sex. I feel like I have a tier one, like a top
Mm-hmm.
inner tier, where all the feeling, all the rules I have for like, they're different when it's there, because I don't know who that person is. Like that's
Okay.
like the rawest, like most vulnerable, like me who was like, oh yeah, I can do polyamory, da, da, da. Over there, no.
No. Nope.
No, you're mine.
Alone.
That's the one where it's like, if you push me to the wall, I can murder for you. You understand?
I think I deliberately avoid vulnerability.
Vulnerability, yeah. I
Yeah.
think we had a conversation about that
Yes.
at some point in
Yes.
time.
Because yeah, I'd rather not.
Yeah, like the thing is, there is like that loss of control that you will experience when you go that deep.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I'm always like, what's life if not lived on the edge? Like I want somebody who will drive me to the brinks of madness, Like
Mm.
that's when so for me, that's when I feel like it's real. Like it's not like all of those other ones aren't real.
Yeah.
And a lot of people end up choosing like the peaceful, calm love. Oh yeah, we're compatible, it's companionship, da 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 da.
Or you want to feel
You
passion.
know, so yeah, that even leads me to like one of the definitions of love. And I agree with what you said. Like if someone asks me what is love, I'll first say like love is a feeling
Mm-hmm.
that you more or less cannot control. Like the times I felt like I fall in love with people, I did not I didn't I'm always in resistance mode. I was like, it's a lie, but you will fall whether or not you like it, because I'm a very like energetic. I believe in like, energy and like connection and stuff. And so I feel like, you know, um, those kind of emotions, you can't necessarily control it. You can only try. You can. Some people run away. Some people, when they feel anything close, they'll disappear. They'll
Yeah.
ghost. Da da da. No, I will always like try to explore that. But it's also a choice, because yes,
Are
you
you
can.
adventurous? Would you say?
Sorry.
Would you say you're adventurous?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I
Okay.
will. I will say so.
Okay.
But even my adventure is like controlled adventure. I'm
Okay.
I'm I'm a control freak. I've come to realize. Well, and when it comes to my life.
Okay. But when it comes to your feelings, you're not.
So yeah, no. When it comes to my feeling, no, because the thing is, I really feel like that deeply.
Okay.
And so, but even within the bounds of like, oh my god, I feel all of this stuff. I'm also somebody who, I still have like rules and like values of life, where it's like, okay, if I love this person and at the end of the day this is toxic, or you're hurting me, or we're just not headed in the same direction, I will still, you know, leave.
Okay.
I'm not like, oh my god, I'm so in
Okay.
love.
Okay.
I'm gonna sell my mother's property.
Okay.
Like I'm
Cool.
gonna pay your school fees. That's
Okay. Cool.
no, no, please, no.
Fair enough.
I feel like no matter how hard I love, like I still keep my head like up, like, and it's funny because I feel like not even I feel like no one has ever broken up with me in quotes.
Mhm.
I'm always the one pulling myself out of situations, no matter how strongly I feel. If I feel like, oh my, this shit is headed to the dust,
Yeah.
I'm gonna carry my load and like go. But yeah, so I was talking about feeling and choice and how I feel like there's also a choice where you feel this, but to now make it work and make it an actual relationship or
Mhm.
whatever is going to blossom, that's where you have to begin to choose, because you choose how you act, not choose how you act in terms of like how you
It's how much of yourself you give.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like learning the other person, learning yourself, understanding, this is bringing my abandonment issues. And that is what is showing up in how we are fighting, how we're
Mhm.
communicating. Okay, this person, likes this or doesn't like this. This person requires this of me. I'm not this kind of person. So that's where the choice to show up and the choice to actually like make it a successful relationship. And I think there's this Robert, what's his name? I think it's Steinberg. I can't remember right now. But he has like a triangular theory of love where there are three components for a successful relationship, and
Okay.
one is passion,
Mhm.
one is intimacy, and one is commitment. So for a successful, you need that passion, you need that intimacy, you need that commitment.
Mhm.
And I feel like a lot of times what happens with many situationships is that commitment is where wahala is. There can be passion, sometimes there's passion and
And
intimacy,
intimacy. Yeah.
but that commitment is where
That's the problem.
exactly, because inconsistencies with it could be a billion
Human
reasons
nature
why.
as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's also that.
Mhm.
There's also, okay, yes, you can um there's also the thing about people choosing, or I've noticed is a man thing more in general, but maybe not just man, maybe human beings as well. There are people who are like, yeah, just because I feel the strongest for you does not necessarily mean that, according to my wife material to do list, you don't be ticking
Yeah,
the
I think it's a
boxes.
man thing
And I think
mostly.
it's mostly a man thing, and I
Yeah.
see it all the time. And for me, I'm like, this shit always leads to regret or cheating,
Cheating
because
for sure.
cheating for sure, because it's like, why, and it's a weird, it creeps me out, because like, why are we still stuck in that phase in this
Where
big
there's an image that you
2023
want for your
for
like
yourself and for your family and
yeah,
for your
it doesn't
wife,
make
and
sense.
it's like
I think a
you're
lot of people
literally
will be
choosing,
happier.
yes, you're choosing unhappiness,
Yeah.
but they're just like, no, I cannot, I don't have the capacity for this one.
Mhm.
And it's like, that shit wears me out. But now, I mean, linking it into sex, um if you think about, can you think of like your best sexual experiences, like, or your top
I can think of
person or your top
top
people?
2, top 3. Yeah.
And do you think that your feelings came into play in those
One of
relationships?
them definitely not. If I'm thinking top 2, one of them definitely not.
Hmm.
One of them yes.
Do you feel like feelings enhance sex for you?
So they could. They could. They very much could. But I think that sex can be very passionate without feelings as well. Like without obviously you're not having sex with somebody that you hate or you can't stand. It's
Many
somebody
people be
that
doing that and they love it. They
what?
love it. They actually love having sex with people they hate, because they feel like that's where the passion is. It couldn't be me though.
There are other ways to tap into
It's a
passion.
passion.
You don't have to hate the person. What? How do you
Nah, people,
even
yeah, they're like, I can't stand them, but like they'll still,
no, I can't.
I
I can
can't, me,
never.
I can't
That
do
can't
that
be
shit.
me. That can never
Like,
be me.
yeah.
But definitely, I think. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Feelings can make it more intense or more
Yeah.
passionate. But at the same time, there's people who have I think that we just connect on a certain level. Um, like we are sort of sexually alike or
Mhm.
similar. And it's
Mhm.
like, oh, we like certain things. And then when we actually just get together, it's extremely explosive.
Yeah.
Without actually we don't talk often.
Yeah.
We're friends, but like
Yeah.
we've not had like deep conversations about
Yeah.
life or like
Yeah.
about me or you. We don't
Yeah.
know ourselves that well. It's just
The
really
sex, the
passionate
sex
sex.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for sure, because I also say that sex can be very energetic. And, as much as it can be very, I fully believe that you can have passionate sex without feeling. In fact, I'm very pro. talking about sex without feelings, because
Mhm.
a lot of times men are always trying to say, "Oh, women have emotions." So that's like, nigga, shut the fuck up,
Yeah.
please. Like, if we told you what we're up to, then all of a sudden we're all who's. But it's just
Exactly.
and that's why people be pretending, and it still pisses me off when I hear like a lot of men will fully foolish until tomorrow they'll say, "No, I cannot take my wife cheating because what was her birthday will cheat. I
Because
can't take my babe. I will leave
it's
her."
the double
Do you
standards
get this? Is the
always.
double standard, and it's like you know the truth because, and I think one thing people always say. So are you trying to say that all sex workers are in love with all their, do you get,
Exactly.
or the runs babes that you guys, it's like stop trying to equate both. Yes, it can come into play for sure, but I always say like me, how I know how good sex is with people for me is where do you? I always ask you, where do you feel sex when you're having it?
Mhm.
And there are times when it only feels good in like the genitals, like your genitals knocking. It's nice. Like the actual act feels nice. And there are times when it's like
When your entire being, yeah.
your entire body, all your neurons are firing.
Mhm.
That's like second place. But for me, the ultimate is one, two, three. When my heart's two is now
Inside the
is
mix.
now inside the mix. So I feel like it's a 3 points. I've always said it like, and that's even before like sex. For me, for choosing a partner as well, I'm always like it is all about one, two, and three. Like, do I have that mental connection with you? Can we have
Mhm.
certain kind of conversations? Are you smart? How does your brain work?
Mhm.
Are you not a feminist? Just like basic stuff. Like I love the thing is I can connect to anyone from any walk of life. We can talk, we can play, we can laugh, but like my own life partner has to be someone where I can be as weird or as unhinged. We can sit down and be like, you know what? Let's just start talking about stars. Let's start talking about is water wet? Do you get like
Mhm.
anything and everything?
Yeah.
Then obviously hearts. I want to know that you have that momo button. Like it's like I cannot explain why I'm so. The thing is, I always say if I can tell exactly why I like somebody, then I don't really like them. Do you get like
We're so opposites. That's
really
yeah.
nah?
Because like I know why or what I like in this person, and I feel like that's also because I'm running away from not running go not I'm just not really
Why are you
interested in
running? Why are you not interested? Why are you not
in
interested?
like I don't know. It's just too much.
Why is it too much? Breathe,
It's
just
too
breathe.
much.
When you feel it, just
It's too much.
inhale
No, I don't need
it.
such intensity in my life.
I
Like
need it
I feel like even
always.
in my relationships with my friends,
Yeah.
like I wouldn't use the tag best friend.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people in my life that okay, when you
Yeah.
see Amiola, you see this person and
Yeah. But do
obviously
you say besties?
no.
What do you just call
I
them?
was just like, oh yeah, like she's my guy. She's my person. She's my sister.
My person sister.
Anything but best
Anything
friend.
but
You
wow.
understand me?
What are you afraid
I
of?
don't
Let's
know.
delve into your
I don't
childhood.
know. This is not a therapy session.
It is when you step into this subject. Determine, did you have a best friend who showed you paper in like primary school and from there you ran away from the title? Like what?
No, actually, I don't. I think I remember being in primary school and calling somebody my best friend. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
but then I don't remember like.
How you fell out.
I think I just changed schools and
Okay.
then we just
Or
weren't
you know,
that
are you
close
sure you need to
anymore.
suppress the memory for why best friend
I,
is a
I wouldn't know.
triggering?
I wouldn't know because I've never really tried to like reassess that. No,
Yeah.
but I feel like when I like a person, I know what I like about this person. If
No, for
I
sure. So,
or if even if it's like sexually, like
mm-hmm.
if I say, oh, this is what really turns me on about this person, like
Yeah.
this is why
Yeah.
when I'm having sex with this person, I feel
Yeah.
this way. Like I want to know so that I can be able to turn it off.
It's a control thing. You were doing so well, and I was like, oh my god.
So that when it's time to turn, I was like, okay.
No, see, that's why I said if I can tell you the exact reason why I love someone, then I don't truly love them. Like the thing is, obviously, people that I feel like I can tell you all the things I like about them. I can
Hmm.
tell you, yes, I love how we speak. I love how I feel when we're around. I love your mind. I love what you do with your tongue. All
Yeah.
those kind of things. But still, there is something that I can't explain. And when I visualize it for me, it feels like an energetic like rope, like a light, like a
Hmm.
just you can just feel it, but you can't explain like why. Like, and then sometimes there are things I realize after, like, okay, usually if somebody's with me and then when it's time to come, like, oh, okay, bye. But when I know that I've said falling in love with somebody, it's like, she's here going. No. I start feeling sad when I start seeing you picking your phone and stuff. I still feel my mood going down, all that kind of stuff. Or I really, really miss you like when I'm apart from you, which is really rare because like I'm not people think I'm not an emotional person. Oh, Halima does not like love. It's a lie. Like I'm the deepest like lover girl, but at the same time, I'm also not like a mumu for love type of
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Like I'm also very like practical with it, and it's also
Mm-hmm.
very rare for me to have those kind of like connections that would drive me to the brink of madness. I feel like in my entire life, I've only had two of that. There've been some that are close, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I really like them, but I knew that like it was not, it's not that one that I'm like, go and bring my voodoo doll from your village.
No.
you know. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that with those ones, obviously, like being physical is very, very, very. And then I think the greatest thing, and I have said, I think I've experienced one of the greatest things in life, where it's like you love somebody, and then sexually you guys are like matched, like
Mm-hmm.
energetically, like they tick all your boxes, you tick theirs. It's just something that I can't explain. Like sex is, it can be a very transcendental experience. It can be very spiritual. It can be very like, and it's such a point of connection. And I think that for a lot of people, I always tell people, like, if you're with somebody who you're not sexually compatible with, that's your best friend, that's bestie, that's
Mm-hmm.
your guy, that's not your partner,
Yeah.
that's not your person, because the physical is what differentiates that relationship from
From
just
a
being.
platonic. Yeah.
Exactly, from that platonic. And obviously sex looks different for certain people. For some people, what makes the sex the connecting experience is the cuddling that they do after.
Mm-hmm.
For some of us, it's the fact that I can drink your spit and I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
right, Bina, do you know that kind of thing? But, for some, so it depends on what like sex looks like for you.
Yeah.
um so yeah, that's how I feel. I think that love definitely takes sex to like an extreme extra level, but you can also have mind blowing
Yes.
physical,
Without
and then
the.
without feelings, without like everything else is firing, but like your chest is just not there. But that's how I know when I like someone, when I don't. If we're physical, if I have sex and I don't feel anything in my chest, like it's just off, it's
Mm-hmm.
switched off, it's not, my heart is not doing and stuff. Then I'm like, I beg,
How do you even have time to find out what your heart is doing? Like, isn't your
ah!
like
Dude,
so many
that's
other things
what.
happening
See,
at the
this
same
is
time?
where, yeah, that's where mindfulness comes in. Like you need to. I can isolate every single muscle in my body. I feel everything.
Yeah, I get that. But
Yeah,
like your
you.
heart can be pounding because the excitement is a lot.
No, no.
Or it can be pounding
Have you ever
because
kissed somebody and
you're
got goosebumps?
yes.
Have you ever kissed somebody and you got an electric shock in your chest?
No.
So yeah. So for me now, that's how I like. You can actually feel like it's like there's, of course, there's the excitement of, oh my god, this is mad, and there's the oh my god, I'm finished. Like when you feel that, so that's how I know it's like kiss somebody, your chest just do do do. Like somebody
Maybe
puts.
I've just never let myself
Yeah,
get to
and
that
I know, but
point.
I
But
feel like I get that resistance from you. I can feel
yeah.
that like, why though?
I don't know, it's just who I am.
No, it can't be. I mean, it can't be who you are.
It's
Like
who
I
I
think that
am.
everyone deserves to have that like mind blowing experience that will
I
drive
think
you over the
that
edge. Because now it's giving I'll marry somebody based on
oh,
practicality
I'm not
and
getting
not.
married.
Oh, okay, fair
Yeah.
enough. That's valid.
Yeah.
That's but then are you open to having like a life partner?
Yeah, sure.
Um, that sounded so convincing.
Yeah, sure. Yes, sure.
Even more convincing.
um, yeah, because I feel that without so for sex, right? I think that the more you have sex with a particular person, the more you guys learn each other's bodies
Bodies,
and
it gets better
everything.
and
Do
all
you
that
understand
stuff.
me? It gets
Of
better. It
course.
gets yeah. So I definitely would want to be having sex with one person for a very long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then obviously we get along. Like
Mm-hmm. It's
we like
giving
each
it's
other.
giving situation. It's giving
A
husband that
long term situation.
long term situation where you do everything. Next thing like, oh yeah, of course he's there. We might as well buy a house together. And it's like,
Yeah,
well, let's have a
let it
child.
just
But yeah, my
happen.
guy though,
Exactly.
as friends,
Exactly. As friends. As friends.
let's start a family
That as
as friends.
friends. That's it. Friends that have sex.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I relate with that because, I've always, for a long time and up till, I mean, 50-50 because I always tell people, like, I can marry tomorrow, but it has to be designed the way I want. And the
Mm.
average design of the Nigerian marriage is something I'm just not interested
Yeah.
in. I don't want, like, for me, I always believe in moving to the next level. If we're giving it labels or titles at the end of that phase, it's like, if I want to, if I'm with someone who I call my husband, or we're like, oh yeah, we're not husband, like I want people to already think we're together. We're already
Mm-hmm.
doing everything. Like our lives are already so intertwined where we're just like, should we just cool?
Yeah.
Not like, or some people start it first. It's like people get in a relationship and they start learning each other. It's like, nah, we have been situationshiping, seeing whatever for
Mm-hmm.
like five
And then you
years.
just fall into
And it's like,
something.
oh
Yeah.
well, yeah, actually we're together. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm more about like the content of what it is than the labels.
Exactly.
But I also feel like
That's why labels
sometimes
aren't so important.
no, they're actually not. It's just that some people just don't have sense. Like left to me, I can be on vibes and I don't care what you're called. You're
Mm-hmm.
just there. You're making me happy. I'm making you happy. Cool.
Yeah.
But some people just don't know how to show up in the way you need them to.
Okay.
If they
Expect them
don't,
to.
yes,
Yeah.
if they
If they
don't
don't
feel
have
like,
that.
yeah, that, oh yeah, you're my girl now. So can you come? And then the thing is right because sometimes when, if you're forming a situationship or you're forming, yeah, my guy, it's kind of loose. You guys are happy, then you turn on that title thing. There's always a shift that happens in certain people. Then
Yes.
all of a sudden they become more possessive of you. They
Yes.
do this, they do that. Then that will now strain the relationship and
Yes.
then shit hits the fan. So I can see why a lot of people will
Mm-hmm.
shy away from it. But I feel like for some people it's more of a security thing. Like there's certain people who say, oh, I don't want to have kids or I don't want to get married or da 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 da. But
Me.
underneath, well, fair. But underneath that is also it's also conditional, right? It's like
Mm-hmm.
if I feel safe enough with a person, if we've built a life in the way that I want, if I'm happy, you take care of me, I see you prioritize me, da 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 da, where our values are aligned and stuff, I could because I want to. But you know that the average, what if you think of marriage naturally within like our friends and our sphere and like
Yeah.
this age, how many
It's
marriages
not something that you
it's
really
not so
aspire to.
exactly. It's not something you aspire to. Like so many, they're literally they look like they're suffering, bro.
Yeah.
It's like it's not something that you
Or
would
it's a
want.
joke most times.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and then of course, like many people are. I find that many single people are still like, oh, I want to marry for love, companionship, da da da. But there are also many people who it's just another thing to take,
Tick.
or it's just
Mm-hmm.
to get their families to leave them alone,
Yeah.
or they want the societal recognition, or you know, we've just been groomed to feel like if you're 30 or 20, whatever, all of that stuff.
You should
And
be.
so yeah, so for me, it's like being with someone who is not so who doesn't care about that and is about is you like me. I want somebody who is like your world, my like all you care about is me, not
Yeah.
I want to have a child because no, it's like I need to be enough. Like let the family be
Yeah.
two of us, she gets.
Yeah.
So I
That's
feel like
facts.
yeah. So after when you get to that point where someone makes you feel safe enough, then you can be like, okay, sure, like so even with
You know,
kids,
to be honest, that's what a lot of people tell me. It's like, oh, you can say this now, but you just not met the person that will make you change your mind and blah blah. I know that I definitely don't want to be pregnant. Like,
no, no, that one. So that's what I was going to say.
yeah.
Like for me now, kids is I've always been like this, and then the older I get, the more I push, 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 push,
Mm-hmm.
push. I realize it's not a hard no; it's just a very conditional no. And one of the conditions for one is I'm not birthing anything
Yeah.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one, surrogate for sure.
Yeah.
Because like I think about like, oh, do I never want to have kids? No, I don't never want to have kids.
Mm-hmm.
But if you give me $50 million, I have all the nannies. There's a surrogate,
Yeah. It's
and
like,
and
are
even
you
still some
comfortable enough to?
time. I even
Yeah.
still need time. Even if you give me all of that now, there's no
It's
my
not
life is
happening
just
now.
it's just
Mm-hmm.
no. Because I still have so much enjoyment to do.
Yeah.
Then maybe later I'm just like, oh, maybe if I'm so in love and I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
like
why adopting is also like an option because they say, oh, your biological clocks. Like, actually, birthing a child is not
yeah, no,
like,
that one is not. That one
mm-mm,
is for me is a hard. Like it's a hard. Before I even say 89%, I'm like
no.
95% sure
I'm
that I am
99%.
not interested
99.9.
in. I swear, honestly, that I'm not
Yeah.
interested in birthing one myself. Like there's no reason for me
You
to.
know, I always think about those people who say they went to the toilet and like were having intense stomach pain and they
Mm-hmm.
just gave
Go,
birth.
yeah.
I would probably do that to a child in the toilet. Like, I'm sorry, but like, what?
Return to
What?
the hell from whence
No.
you came. She's like,
I'm sorry. I know.
plunger.
I mean, I sound horrible, but you
I
get
mean,
what I mean.
fair enough. Because who did you come to?
You get
Whose
me?
life did you come to
I don't even
destroy?
want it.
Do you get no? For me, I mean FTK because I said last Instagram deleted one of my posts when I wrote that was the name of one of my episodes, but it's like, oop, for sure. I know that like I when I tell people like pregnancy is literally one of my greatest fears in life at my big age.
Hmm.
Still, like
Yeah.
I am like I said, it was a testimony for me. Like, oh yeah, I celebrated my 30th, no pregnancy,
Hmm.
no. scares, nothing. I'm like, yeah, like I've done something great because I don't want, I'm not interested. And then you now see people being so honest about their experiences. You see, like, I lost my hair, I lost my teeth, I lost
Went
my skin,
blind.
I went deaf,
I've
my
even seen
tooth.
people who could get like skin depigmentation, like develop
Yeah,
a
you know, there was one who I saw, like her whole, she had rashes, her whole skin was peeling. I just saw that one like 2 days ago. Her entire skin. There was another one who had like she had a fracture. Her hip literally separated. Like she put it on Instagram, like the hip actually, bah, it just split.
I saw one on TikTok today. The babe says she was paralyzed.
Yeah, I saw
It's
that
like,
one too.
why? Why?
I am
Why?
actually need to even have a pregnancy and sex episode. Thank you for putting this
Then
in
the
my
child will
mind.
now come out and
You know,
disrespect
do you
you. I
understand? You
will
not be there.
step on
You
you.
not be there. The kids will not be glowing. I remember even one of my aunts. She had like her hair was like reaching her back. Everything. Her first son came. She had to go on locks because she lost so much of her hair. Her hair became thin and stuff. Meanwhile, my cousin there has like
Full head of
full
hair.
hair like this
Yeah, I mean, I
everywhere
can
and stuff.
understand. Every time my mom says, I tell my mom I want to cut my hair, she's like, "Don't you dare cut my
My
hair."
hair that you chopped. It's like you came here and chowed my thing. No, hell
Yeah,
nah.
no.
So yeah, so like, kids is such a huge thing. Like, and I feel like so those are the things that for me also as well. I think in terms of choosing like a life partner, those are things that have caused me to separate from certain people because like we're just not aligned in that
Mm-hmm.
future. Like I need some form of flexibility, and it's such a big deal breaker. And it's always men they lie. So what are you gonna do? Combine? I'm like, my kids, my friends. I'll be the rich. I'm very
Do you
happy to
understand
be
me?
rich auntie.
Beautiful auntie.
When I go up and down, travel, sometimes I'll even tell people, bring your kids for the holiday.
Yeah.
People go and enjoy your life and stuff. I'll take care of them. Like it's not,
Best in auntie. As
do you
long
get,
as
like
it's
it's not
auntie.
something that I feel like if I died and I never had one, I don't think that there would be that big a hole in my chest. I love kids, I love babies,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't have that desire to have one anytime soon. Like
Yeah.
the conditions have to be so strict, and even if I don't, I'll have dogs or some shit.
Yeah.
Like it's not, it's really not. It's
It's
just,
not
it's not
that
that
deep.
deep to me.
Yeah,
It's not
I
that deep to
agree.
me. It's nice, it's cute, it's wonderful. Like, and
And they
obviously,
don't stay babies forever. They grow up. They
exactly.
become like
And when you're like in
troublesome
love, of
children.
course that whole, oh yeah, having half of the man I love and half of the chemical
And me and the person I
and me
love
are
become
together, like
one person.
in
It's cute
it's cute in the
in
abstract, but
theory.
in the reality, exactly in reality, it's like who's going to be and it's funny because I mean I know how to do all the diapers and all this and all that, but it's just like it's not a hole that is currently
Mm-hmm.
in my life right
Yeah.
now. It's just not. It's just not.
Yeah.
You know,
I
men,
think
you
we're
know, I
in
want
sync on
kids.
that.
I
For
want you. I
sure.
want you. Yeah, right. Because you don't have to give birth. You don't have
Of
to. It's
course,
like
it's always the
the
men that want
shege
the
I've
kids more.
seen from PMSing alone is enough to know that I'm not even trying to. I'm not even trying to experience that at all. You know.
Not every day for 9 months.
And why do you have to be pregnant for a
For
whole
so
year?
long. Like
Like
why?
9 months. It's so insane. Like what? 1 year of just like all sorts of shit. And some people, I mean, some people
People
say they have
build careers in that period of
fam.
time.
Some people say, oh yeah, you know, it was an easy pregnancy. I only had morning sickness, or like, fam, you can have morning sickness, incontinence, gas. Some people say yeast infections. You have monthly yeast infections because you're always juicing
Then you
the
now have the child.
cravings. Do you
And
understand?
then
Then
like your
I
vagina is just a is
do you understand? I mean, yes, it does go back after some
after
time,
it,
and
some people it takes longer. Some people
yeah, and
actually
that
have
6 weeks thing is a myth because
hmm
everybody's body is like
it's
really
different,
different. So you actually,
exactly.
and something that is sad that is that a lot of men actually, trigger warning, they actually rape and molest their wives because they still demand sex. Just like, what the fuck, you stabbed me for 6 weeks. There are people who, I remember on the internet, people were putting threads of how their men literally fucked them through the stitches.
Oh
Like
my
they literally,
goodness.
yeah, like they're just like, they don't care. They actually don't care. Honestly, a lot of men are actually demented, and it sometimes it feels like we're always saying men, 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 but that's what people are doing. Because yes, some of you might have been educated now, and you're opening your minds to realizing that women are just not
Mm-hmm.
there for your whatever it is. But you still have the average man on the street who thinks a woman is there for his servitude, she's his property, or I've paid your bride price,
Yeah, and
all
to
of
be
that
honest,
stuff.
even the educated man still needs more
They
educating to
do,
do
they
because
do, they
the
do.
average educated man is does not really like
He
no
though he does
no
he does not
mm,
know it, he doesn't
no.
know shit. Cause it's so funny because today I was watching some interviews and I was seeing this not interviews, well I guess I'll call them interviews. This honest bunch podcast, and this
Mm-hmm.
ID Kabasa was talking, and he was spitting a lot of gems, like so many of the things he said made sense in terms of, he was talking about vulnerability, even the message he gives to Gen Z. You're talking about how, a lot of times people want to bring those old tenets to fix today's issues. It's like take the principles of what what the lesson is. But like obviously now in terms of Gen Zs and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you can't be using cane, you can't be using, you
Yeah.
need to talk, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of things that he spoke
Evolve
about.
and then yeah.
Yeah, it just evolved. Da, 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 da. He was talking about addiction. So a lot of things he said made sense. And I was even listening, only for me to now go on, because I was watching them on Twitter. Only for me to now go on Instagram, and then I went to the Honest, because I would almost never go to that Honest Bunch page,
Page.
because almost everything that's going viral is some slut shaming of some sort or
Yeah.
something irritating. But like I was like, oh, okay, let me go and post one in my story. Only for me to click the first one. A woman must submit, the same guy, oh,
Ugh.
she must submit to a man, kinikon, kinikon. Then he started bringing, there's this thing that people always do about like, about how a lot of single homes, like how you are more likely to have the statistic that goes around is kids from single homes are more likely to be dysfunctional, end up in jail or commit crimes, da 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 da. Then the statistics show that there are more single mother homes
Mm-hmm.
than both parents, and he
Yeah.
was basically trying to say that more people are in trouble when they come from single parent homes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically, the moral of the story was basically trying to say you should fight to keep your home together. But then that statistic has been remixed, and then it's how someone says, why do people always want to judge the person who stayed?
Mm-hmm.
Because is it always the woman's fault that the man left?
Mm-hmm.
The man might be a deadbeat, the man might have 59 children up and down,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. So I got his message, but it's like even men, you would feel like, oh yes, this person is smart, this person is educated, this person is, he's even opening his mind. That when someone says, a lot of men start off misogynistic.
Mm-hmm.
That's just their training. That patriarchy is so deep in them. This sexism is deep in them, and some can be great everywhere. But that is one area where they wouldn't even question. They wouldn't even question like, okay, should I? Yes, I've opened my mind to healing and to this and learning. But when it comes to women, it's still that
Close
whole
minded.
close-minded, slut shaming type. Oh, a woman should do this, and it's just so sad.
It is. It
It's
is.
very sad. It's very sad. It's very
It's
sad.
funny how I think that, speaking of people who come from like single parent homes, I feel like they're more they have a more realistic idea of the world
Yeah, and
than anybody
for me
else.
they're more resilient
Mm.
as well, because it's like, you know, you've seen what life could potentially be.
Yeah.
Although for some people it does inform like their I mean, with everyone, to be honest, your
With
home
every
base,
situation.
with every situation, it will form like how you view
Yeah.
relationships and stuff. There's someone who told me how, because she was from a single parent home, she just never thought marriages were meant to last. Da, 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 da. There's some people who the happy homes have made them go into the world expecting
Yeah.
some of
My
that,
parents are together, they've been together 36 years, and I don't want to
and you're
get
not interested.
married. Do you understand me?
Exactly.
So it's
Yeah.
like,
So at the end of the day, it doesn't always translate, and a lot of people, you will find that even the ones in supposed together homes, is
mm-hmm,
that's where their trauma even started from.
true.
Because even if your parents are together, if your father is a misogynistic prick, I'm sorry, it will show in how he treats your
Very
mom.
true.
And sometimes she will also transfer that aggression to you.
To
And
you.
even in psychology, you find that where apparently like the trifecta of like abuse is home, school, and then religious institutions and stuff. So but sometimes obviously people just, that's the thing about the world that's so scary. There's so many statistics, even with sex, even with like people talk about how, oh, women, the way why women get attached after sex is they have oxytocin, men is testosterone, it makes them, it's just like that's not how it works. The more sex you have as a man, the more your testosterone increases. It does not necessarily mean that you don't want intimacy. And I've also had this conversation about intimacy, and how a lot of times men don't get to access intimacy because society likes to over sexualize them. So you find people pretending that they want to have sex, but they lie. They're lonely. They just
Yeah.
want a
Yeah.
goal, they want body beside
Mm-hmm.
them, and all of that stuff. And so there are certain things that people just keep repeating, and then they push them in the studies, and everybody be arguing rubbish. Meanwhile, it might have been one controlled group,
Yeah.
and then you want to translate it into everything and say, oh, that's the justification for your bad behavior, that's why I'm going to be an ass or whatever. I was like, that doesn't even resonate with who you are. You're
Mm-hmm.
a nigga who wants to cuddle.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, me, I'm the one who's just like, okay, thanks for coming, get up and stuff. And even then too, nothing in this life is absolute. There are certain people where you're a certain way with, and there are other people where
Yep.
you're,
Very
you're
true.
quite different. You're quite different. So
Very true.
yeah, it's just I love how we've barely spoken about love and sex. It's just
Speaking about
everything. But I mean, honestly, it really, really is like, it really is all it's really all connected, and is very intertwined. And I think, I mean, speaking of love and this our generation, people always say, oh, they just feel like love doesn't exist anymore, lies, obviously.
It
But
does
like,
exist.
but I think that, do you find that streets are more guarded than they used to be back then?
Yeah, because I think that first of all, nobody wants
To chop breakfast.
breakfast.
But we
Yeah,
go still chop 'em.
you still yeah,
You will still eat.
you will still eat it. At least even if it's like one spoon, you will
Nah,
still taste it.
you still
Yeah.
taste it.
But I think everybody is definitely more guarded because it's like, okay, even if I'm going to eat, is this the person that's serving me the breakfast worth it?
Yeah.
You know. Well, yeah, I don't think there's no love. There's definitely still love out there. Everybody's just like me. More like
Yeah,
me.
you
Guarded.
exactly. No, but we need you to like open up. I think that that's one thing about Misha. I think that I feel like for me to have lived like a rich full life, I want to feel everything
Yeah.
that's
Someone said that
yeah.
to me recently, and it's like, oh, there's so much of you that requires being given to others. You're supposed to be shared with people. You're not supposed to just like guard
God,
yourself. And
yeah, yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, yeah, whatever.
I'm
Um,
screaming. Like
because
it's
I
like
feel
you
like,
have to remain soft. You have to come back to your softness, and I think that that's definitely one thing that's been my journey has been like from entering the world very la 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 to then I became really guarded. Then I open and close and open and close. But like that's why I said when there's certain people who no matter how high your walls are, that feeling will always jump. They
mm-hmm,
will always scale it. But a lot of people sometimes when that person jumps over that, they run away because obviously the older we get, and that's one thing. I mean, someone spoke about how a lot of people who are tainted by life right now, like your experiences obviously inform how you show up in other
yeah,
relationships. Nobody wants to go through that pain again. So some people when they're like, this one has the capacity to finish me, they run away,
mm-hmm,
they ghost
mm-hmm.
them, they try to avoid, all of this. Not use violence. I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I'll always see things through because pain is pain, but like, pain will always pass.
Yes. That's why I was going to say that next because I said I went through surgery like some years back
Oh,
and I thought
wow.
it was very horrible. Like I thought I wouldn't live past this. Like I just thought it was a very horrible feeling in that moment. But I like
You
obviously
healed.
healed from it.
Yeah.
And so it's like the same kind of thing in your life. In every inconvenience you're going through, there's relief
There's
afterwards. It's
relief
not
after.
always
Yeah.
going to be like that.
Painful.
So
Yeah.
you get over it. Even people
Yeah.
who have been pregnant and have had children, they
Of
will tell
course.
you they
Yeah.
got over
And
it,
they'll go
and
back
they'll go back
again and go back
exactly.
again and go back
So I feel
again.
like I don't know, maybe it's because when your birthday is around the corner, you just feel you have a lot of like what they call this thing.
Philosophies,
You start to
epiphanies,
reflect
and
and start
reflection.
to
When's your
yeah
birthday again?
next week
Woo,
you start reflecting
yeah.
and all of that. So I don't know if that's the state that I'm currently in that's making me say, okay, you know what, from now
Maybe,
on,
yeah.
I would sort of
Show
just
up
like
more, open
unclench a
up.
little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and not be so tight. And, let's see next year.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's what my friends call me. And it's like, and I get it because at the end of the day, in this life, it's very important to protect yourself. But you
hmm
don't, at the end of you don't want to um keep yourself locked in because you're trying to keep people out. It's
Yeah,
like,
no, I don't think I do. I
yeah,
think that the people who are in my life would tell me, like, know that I'm a sweet person. It's
yeah.
just the people who actually get to see the sweetness of,
Of
like, yeah.
course.
So
Yeah. But
that's
I
it.
mean, it's easier to do that with friends than like with like relationships, no?
Hmm. I think it's just that I'm very observant. My observant phase might last very, very long time. Like, except I feel like, okay,
But you don't
you've
want
made me
analysis paralysis, though. It's like at the end of the day, you can calculate and
analysis
analyze.
paralysis.
Yes, you can calculate and say, I'm watching, I just they see. But sometimes the proof is in the pudding, you have to jump inside, and
Hmm.
just open
Put your
yourself
leg
up to
inside
love.
first. Just like
Should you jump inside, some days dive,
you put your leg, enter
um
slowly.
me I'm here talking as if no, I'm out there loving in the streets.
Exactly.
But I do sometimes like I will always like as long as I feel like something is like real, and even with like friendships and stuff, I feel like I don't want anyone to be the reason why I'm robbed of like an authentic like connection that
hmm
is deep. Like I love deep connections. I love deep friendships. Like you know when like you're with someone and you're just like damn, like we just feel like this was meant to be. Like you,
Yeah.
you can feel that soul to soul connection, and this isn't only just like physically or with like romantic partners and stuff. A lot of times it also shows up in
In
friendships as
friendships, where
well.
you just realize you want to
Yeah,
be
like
around this
you want
person
to
a
be around
lot.
this person all the time, and like that's how they say sometimes you're like how you say your sisters. I really so that's very random, but like I'm someone who like I don't. I don't call people like my sister or my brother. Like I'm very, I don't know if it's a possessive because I just have one brother. It's not like I just have one brother.
Okay.
I can call you bestie, best friend, you're my blood, but
Mm.
I don't know. I'm just like when I don't say, oh, she's my sister. No, you're not my sister.
Interesting.
You're not my
Interesting.
sister. I mean, I love you as much as I would love a sister. I mean,
Yeah.
there's only one person who I call my little sister, to be honest. But we're literally like besties,
I
you know.
think that that's my own, how do I say, it's the way I say that you're going to
Your
be in my
blood,
life for a
yeah, for
very
a
long
very
time. Do you
long
get me? So
time.
like
And
even
so
if
that's
you
how you
upset
express
me,
your own intimacy
yeah.
and stuff.
Even
And
if you are like we fight tomorrow and we don't speak for 3 months,
yeah,
you're still
yeah,
my,
still my
yeah,
person type thing
exactly.
and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think for me it's very like best friends, besties. Like, well, I'm always someone who like and sometimes it has caused like I don't say issues, but like because I can get really close to like a lot of people. I think that I have like a very big heart. I have
Mm,
like capacity for like deep connections, and the way I nurture my friendships, I'm someone who I don't bring everybody together. I like to build like my one on one with this
okay.
one on one, one on one, one on one. So it's all deep on its own, and I just have so many people that I love and stuff. And I mean, same vein, there are people who have in my life where you have seen me with them every day for 1 year, then you know, and
Yeah.
they're gone, and it is what it is. And I don't allow. I basically just refuse to allow past experiences deprive me of. So some people, because one they call someone their best friend, then they show them shiggy, then they're just like, no, I'm not doing best friend again. I'm not doing
Mm-hmm.
best friend. It's like I hate having to hold back. I feel like I'm stifling myself in any capacity in how I show up in the world and things I want to say. And as long as it feels right and aligned, I don't want to allow fear to stop me from experiencing it just because there's
That's a good way
possible,
to live.
yeah, just because there's possible pain. Because either way, I feel like you still feel that pain in setting. It may not be as harsh, but you microdose it or you feel it as love or to show
Mm-hmm.
up as grief or just like knowing that, something is missing there. So yeah, that's just how I feel.
I'm taking mental notes.
Right. Yeah. So, what are we on time? But 7 minutes. Okay. Yeah, I feel like we can start wrapping it up. So any last nuggets? Tip of the week
Tip of the week.
when it comes to love and sex.
Um, what I would say is don't, first of all, don't hold yourself back from having amazing sex because you think that
You
it
must
has to be
love
tied to
to love.
love.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you, and then don't think that you're in love with somebody because you are having great sex with the
Amazing.
person,
Valid. Extremely.
because that can be very confusing as well.
Hmm. That's very valid. That's very
Yeah.
valid. That's very valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I fully agree with that as well. My own, little nuggets when it comes to like love and sex is I think that having um great sex with someone you're in love with is like one of the keys to having like the best like relationship.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times life, one of the greatest markers of people feeling like they lived a good life is actually unfortunately tied to great relationship satisfaction. But
Mm-hmm.
good sex, good physical intimacy is also tied to having great relationship satisfaction.
Yeah.
So it's all linked. So I think that it's something that you
One way or the
should,
other.
yeah, it's all connected. It's
Intertwined.
something that people should take seriously. I need people to take sexual compatibility more seriously with your life partners, because this whole
Yeah.
chop here, no chop here, you're depriving yourself of like a rich, fuller
Yeah.
experience and stuff. Um, and like that's it for me. I think that that's all I have to say. Like, I know obviously I 100% agree that you can have sex with people, amazing mind blowing sex with people that you don't love. Like, they don't always have to be connected. It's just very, layered. So
And
yeah.
also, you can have very amazing sex with people that you're in love with. Love actually enhances it as well.
It does. It
Yeah.
does. I think that, and I've said it before, that I think that love gives a 2 points. Like if somebody has the same sex with two different people,
Mm-hmm.
but they're in love with one and they're not in love with one, they'll say the one they're in love with is like, let's say it was both 5 over 10. They'll say that one was 7 over
Seven over
ten
ten.
because it definitely elevates and enhances, that experience and stuff.
Mm.
So yeah, which is good and sometimes it's bad because it's like that sex is actually whack, but because you love them, you
Yeah.
collect it and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's all about balance. It's all about balance. Just yeah,
Oh, pick your poison.
pick your poison in this life, but pick your poison. I choose good sex.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, find me on Instagram at Hausa Chocolate. Follow the podcast at Spit or Swallow Pod. Find us on YouTube at Spit or Swallow Podcast and on Twitter SOS Pod Official. TikTok Spit or Swallow Pod. Where can we find you, Amila?
I'm on Instagram as dark skinned female. That's all that matters.
Exactly. And